Good morning, Miriam. Good morning, Andrew. Well, as you've already said, the peak is now expected tonight. That's half a metre higher than was originally forecast. And just to put it in some context for you, the 1990 flood, which divided the town in two, was a 10.43 level. So it already has reached 10.67. That happened at 4 a.m. this morning. And then tonight, it's expected it will reach that 10.7 level. So the concern obviously is that the town could then be cut in two. And there's also concerns for a number of houses in the low-lying areas. 100 homes have already been inundated by water. So there have been a number of people that have evacuated from their homes. Some of those spent the night in an evacuation centre, which has been set up at a nearby high school. But at this state of the day, they're still waiting and watching, and it's obviously the Lake Forbes behind me. The Lachlan River feeds into that lake that there's a great deal of concern about here in the town of Forbes today.
And Leif, we were talking with the SES a little earlier, and there was concern about people who have decided to remain in their homes despite those warnings that they should evacuate. Do we have an update of how those people are coping? Because the SES are concerned that this flooding is acting in a way that's a bit unusual.
It is a bit unusual, Andrew. We've visited some of those homes this morning. We didn't see anyone out and about. It was a bit early for people potentially. But speaking to some of those people yesterday who decided to stay, they say they've been through some of these flood events before, some as far back as 1950s when there was a major flood that hit the town. There was also another flood in 1974 and the other one that I spoke about in the 1990s. So those people that have decided to stay say they're well supplied, that their homes are elevated, and so they feel that they are safe and that they're in a location that they won't be completely inundated in their homes, potentially just water through their backyards, etc. So the SES is aware that some people have decided to stay. It wasn't mandatory, it wasn't actually a compulsory order. Speaking to some of the people that were door knocked yesterday, they said they were told that they could stay if they wished to. Others obviously were encouraged to get out because their homes were likely to be flooded. And as I said, 100 homes that's happened to overnight.
Well, Liv, in terms of that current situation of 100 homes already flooded, with the water expected to reach unprecedented levels, do we have an idea of the potential scope of the flooding event there?
Well, because the SES has already said that it is behaving differently, it's not yet clear just what's going to happen. Back in 1990, with that major flood, the level was lower than it is now, and yet the town was divided in two. So it is behaving rather differently this time, and the SES is aware of that. They're doing modelling for it, but they are still predicting that tonight, when the river peaks, that the town could be cut in two. So it's not just about the homes that are inundated by water, it's also about the town being cut off. And so some people in the higher parts of the town, I was just speaking to one lady before, she was told by the SES yesterday, you don't need to leave, but just be aware you might be cut off from services, so make sure you're fully stocked up. And so that's what she's gone and done over the last week.
Obviously a lot of work ahead for the SES, and they are being boosted with the services of the Defence Forces.
They are, Andrew. The ADF came into town yesterday, 5 troop carriers. They're high clearance vehicles if they're needed. They'll assess some of the flood damage today, and they're just basically here to offer support if need be. The SES obviously have been inundated themselves by, bad choice of words perhaps, by calls for assistance, 2,000 people needing help. So they're here to offer their support where needed.
Now, Liv, what's the forecast as well? Are we anticipating any further rainfalls which may then exacerbate the flooding?
Well, you might have been able to see at the start of talking to you, and certainly while we've been waiting here, it started to rain, and rain quite heavily. It's starting to dry again, but the skies are certainly grey and there is more rain forecast. But it's not just the rain, of course, it's the water that's further upstream in the Lachlan River that's pushing down into Lake Forbes. So obviously they're going to be watching that carefully today.